We thought it was important to get together today because, as Steve said, we're about a month out from another national championship here in St. Joseph. It seems like we just left here and packed everything up, and boy, it doesn't seem possible that we're getting ready for March Madness again. But I can't tell you how excited we are for this championship to come back to St. Joe. You know, if you will, just think with me very, very closely and very quickly, especially media folks in the room that have covered many events. You know, there are not a lot of communities our size that can say they have done the things sports-wise that St. Joseph, Missouri has. When you consider in the last roughly 12 to 14 months, we will have hosted 3 NCAA national championships. We host an NFL summer training camp here in St. Joseph. We have a professional or an amateur summer baseball league that averages about 2,500 a game in the St. Joseph Mustangs. We've hosted a professional bicycle tour race. We are unofficially basically the amateur softball capital of the world. So, you know, I think St. Joseph, Missouri, for a town of 78,000 people, has a heck of a lot going for it. And certainly we're glad everybody's here today. I also want to thank the media folks in the room because I felt like you had a big part in making this championship what it was last year. We couldn't have asked for anything else in last year's championship. Myself, along with the local organizing committee, I think last year's championship exceeded our expectations. Over 14,000 people attended the championship over the 7 games, including a sellout crowd championship night. Now, no question that the closeness of Emporia State certainly added to that, but I think the momentum that built up championship week leading into the championship, I think not only with their fans, but just with the kid fan program going on locally and the buzz we got in the media, I think certainly helped fill those seats. Some other things that I think you'll be important to know about last year's championship. Obviously, economic impact of the community is very, very important. And Lindsay, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think last year's championship week was estimated at about $700,000 when everything's all said and done. And you know, to put that in perspective, just to use that kind of as a comparison, you know, the Chiefs training camp obviously has been in the news a lot, and certainly the economic impact of that was estimated at $20 million, but about $19 million of that was the construction leading up to training camp itself. And I think the 3 weeks of camp, the economic impact was about $1.1 million, and that was just camp itself. So to put that in perspective, with 1 week of a national championship here in St. Joseph, we're using 5 host properties here in St. Joe that are going to be full tournament week. A lot of the teams, in fact, all of the teams will be staying out near I-29 and Frederick Avenue. You know the restaurants that are out there. You know the malls out there. You know, a lot of places in town will be busy during that week of March when they certainly ordinarily might not have been, thanks to this national championship that comes to town. Another popular event that we're very excited about, we got a lot of buzz last year from our Kid Fan program. And real briefly, our Kid Fan program encompasses 8 area middle schools. We'll be using all 4 local middle schools in St. Joe. The St. Joseph Parochial Schools, the Savannah Middle School is going to be with us this year, Elwood Middle School, and David, I believe East Buchanan's back with us again this year as well. Basically what those middle schools do is they adopt a region of the championship. There's 8 middle schools for 8 regions of the championship. And basically those middle school students are learning about different aspects of character education and why it's important to be a good sport and why balance in your life is very important and why it's important to get a good education. They started that program last week in the middle schools. And then once they know who their team is mid-March, then they're going to start learning about their team. When the teams get to St. Joe, they will all go to the middle school on Monday, March 21, and they'll have about an hour to 90-minute assembly with that middle school. And I spent my Monday that day, I went to Rubidoux Middle School. And Gannon University, who was here last year from Erie, Pennsylvania, I tell you what, when those kids walked in that gym, none of the middle school students really had an idea of who any of the players were by name. But I tell you what, they knew why they were in town, and they treated those student athletes like rock stars. And I can tell you this, for as much as the middle schools get out of it, the student athletes and the travels parties get just as much out of it. It's a really neat experience for them to go in and be treated like those rock stars, deliver a good message, and interact with the youth of the community, especially at a key age that the middle school age is. There are a lot of entities in town that have made this championship come together, and not just Missouri Western State University. And some of those folks will be very visible, and some of those folks you'll never have an idea who they are. But if you do see a game program, take a look at that patrons page, because national championships in St. Joseph couldn't come together without those folks. But to secondly answer that question, what can we do to help you? I would say simply buy a ticket, come out and watch great basketball the week of March 22nd through 25th. When you consider that those student athletes basically have been working at it since early September in individual workouts, practices started on October 15th. I don't know about you, October 15th seems like miles ago. I mean, it's only been about 4 months ago, but it seems like a long, long time ago. And when you consider that they've reached the climax of their sport here in our community, in our own backyard, I think we owe it to them to provide them a great student-athlete experience, to provide them a great arena, and Civic Arena is a great venue for this championship. And simply buy a ticket to come out. It's $35 for an all-session pass. That's a reserve seat. And again, how many times in your lifetime, and I couldn't say it very often until the championship came to town, that you've had an opportunity to attend an NCAA national championship? If you're a sports fan, especially if you're a basketball fan, we encourage you to come to Civic Arena the week of March 22 through 25th.